ways.
Well, you're good at it, so we're going to give you the floor. How's that sound, Anthony?
Absolutely. Starting off with Vontaze Burfict, the linebacker for the Raiders. It's quite surprising the fact they brought him in the first place, given his history of suspension for unnecessarily rough behaviour in the past, was slightly surprising. But yes, unsurprisingly, week 4, he had been suspended once again for the remainder of this season now by the NFL for unnecessary roughness against Jack Doyle, tight end for the Colts. It was a head-to-head hit. It was a very nasty-looking hit as well. And unsurprisingly, he has decided to appeal this. He was in the UK getting ready for their next game in London, but he has decided to head home after the news of his suspension. There's a quote here from the NFL. It was in the letters where they said there were no mitigating circumstances on display. Your conduct was unnecessary, flagrant, and should have been avoided. For your actions, you were penalised and disqualified for the game. It then goes on to discuss that he, with his extensive history of rule violations, and I come to, he will be big. But yes, that's the situation for them, and they lose an important player for the defense, and there's people discussing should he be given another chance in the NFL, because this is by far not the first time he has had an issue like this. And it's a real shame, just because it's a stain on the game that we really don't need at this point in time. But yes, that's the situation as it stands with Burfict. I was wondering what your thoughts on the situation are.
Well, I can tell you right now, since he was in London with the Raiders and he heard of his suspension and headed home, that must have been one expensive airplane trip back home, wasn't it, Anthony? That's your neck of the woods, pal.
Let's be honest, I'm sure he can afford it. Despite the fact I read earlier on, I think it was Adam Schefter who posted that throughout his career, because of all these suspensions and missed games, it's costed just over $5 million in so far. These suspensions, it's a ridiculous sum of money he's lost out on now, but that's what you get if you play with the bull, you get the horns, I suppose.
Well, it seems like players are losing a lot of money in a lot of different ways. Antonio Brown has found a way to cough up his fortune with his immature antics. I'm not going to get any details of them. Jalen Ramsey is becoming a bit of a distraction too, and but then this guy here, I remember when Damon Suh got drafted by the Lions, and he was considered a dirty player, but it's ironically when it came to watching Golick and Wingo this morning, they had Ndamukong Suh on the program, and Ndamukong Suh was a ferocious player out of Nebraska, took that mentality to the NFL, and at some point he got it figured out, and he's having a pretty productive career. Now, I will say the only thing I wish would ever happen is that Vontaze Burfict, would have played in the eras of Dick Butkus and a lot of those physical players, because I got news for you. These guys would absolutely kill him. They would absolutely kill him.
Let's be honest, it would have been a better fit for his style of play, if you'd like to call it that, and it would have straightened him out quite quickly, I think.
You think? I know. It is what it is.
But yes, but what this has also brought up, unfortunately, is it's dug up more dirt around the league about this that we don't really want to have to get into. But there was another incident over the weekend involving one of the Patriots players who hit Josh Allen, Bill's quarterback. Again, it looked like head-to-head. Now, he wasn't fined in any way. He wasn't ejected. It was replayed. Al River decided it was not unnecessary. It did not warrant an unnecessary roughness call. But if you look back at it, their argument is, and Belichick spoke at length about this, their argument is that it was not a direct head-to-head and it wasn't purposeful. He leans in with his shoulder, and he seems to be going for shoulder first. Now, that may be the case, but in my opinion, if you look at it, he's also leaning his head in at least somewhat, and should some sort of fine or suspension or even a warning of some kind for this, because a lot of people are pointing out that this is just another example of the Patriots getting their way and getting away with it, and that may or may not be the case, but if this rule is going to stick and if players are going to stick to it and learn from it, it has to be unanimous, it has to be league-wide.
Right, well, it does. Let's not kid ourselves. The Patriots have been known to do things in the past that the league doesn't quite approve of. I'm not going to get into that list right now, but because it's too long and we don't have that much time because you have a lot of other good information. But I think, the Patriots hit on Josh Allen is what it is. But let's stick to Burfict. This guy will never figure it out. And the NFL is one of these, is going to use him as an example, Anthony, to let guys know around the league that this is the way today's game is played. We are not out here to go ahead and deliberately injure players. And you're talking about a league that's had to pay out a lot of money in lawsuits in recent years because for the retired players. So when you look at the sum of the whole and the whole of the sum, the NFL doesn't need any more potential legal issues to compound the ones that they already have now. And yes, they are going to make a statement with Vontaze Burfict, and I don't know what chance he thinks he has with an appeal, but judging by his track record, I personally don't think that he's going to have much of a case. So
no, if you watch back the play, there is absolutely no reason for that play in particular. There's no reason why he should go in the way he did. It was very clearly at first. It was very clearly an unnecessary hit because the play was already pretty much dead at that point in time. It was a completely unnecessary hit. So I don't see any world in which this appeal is going to be successful for him, and I do think he will be out the rest of the season. And after this season, I mean, he's another year older. He is already coming towards the end of his career. Is he going to get another shot in the NFL? I suspect he may do, but I don't think he deserves it, if we're being perfectly honest, given his behaviour in the past. Because, yes, don't get me wrong, in Hard Knocks this year, we all looked at him and thought, okay, he was polite, he was quiet, he didn't do anything that we'd expected him to do. It wasn't quite the chamber pot of tempers that we thought it would be with him and the likes of Richie Incognito, but at the end of the day, it's only game 4 and he's already done this, and he's been warned about this in the past.
Yeah, I mean, here's the situation, okay, with him. First of all, Anthony, the guy doesn't show any remorse, and he's kind of like laughing at it as he goes off the field. And I think he could get another chance, and I wouldn't be surprised, believe it or not, Anthony, if he gets it with the Raiders as they go to Las Vegas. So John Gruden and Mike Mayock will certainly probably not overly stressed out over him compared to the headaches that they dealt with Antonio Brown. So, and if the league, if he doesn't get one there, the Dallas Cowboys once upon a time employed Greg Hardy. So I don't think that Burfict is completely a goner. But let me tell you, when you look at that situation as a whole, Anthony, I think he's got a little bit more life, but he's going to have another 12 games, and even perhaps a postseason to think about it. Although I don't think the Raiders are getting to the postseason anyways. But 12 games and a lot of cabbage, man. I think he's definitely have time to think about it. If he doesn't show remorse after this lengthy suspension, and don't think that the NFL will bar him permanently, because you're right, he's had more lives than Morris had. So just a little thought out there. All right, with that said, okay, you brought up an interesting topic, and now I'm really curious about it because I will grill you all the way to the Royal Parliament about this one. You're talking about the Cincinnati Bengals on their way out after yet another disappointing defeat. There are I need to hear more about this one, Anthony. This is news for me.
Well, first thing, this morning some news came out that clips have been going around social media about AJ Green looking very disappointed on the sidelines. And rightly so in that last game. It was a poor performance at the end of the day. But subsequently, there were lots of rumours going around about the Patriots potentially working on a trade for AJ Green, or a couple of other teams working on a trade for AJ Green. Shortly afterwards, we hear that wide receiver John Ross is now out for at least about a month with a shoulder injury he sustained last weekend. More bad news for the Bengals. And then a Cincinnati politician has tweeted, it's a very interesting one here. He's the prominent Democrat in the area. He said, "Go Bengals, seriously, just go." He then complained about the lack of paying properties and such. And he has an interesting point, and the USA Today pointed this out today in a very interesting article. I'd advise you to go and have a look at it if you get a chance out there. The Bengals, their stadium deal expires in 2026. The stadium that they're currently in would cost at least $300 million to renovate to where they would need it to be. It's falling behind. And then if you throw in the fact that the Bengals haven't won a playoff game in 1991, is the city really going to be that passionate to keep this team in town? It's something that not a lot of people have thought about, but given the start to this season, it's yet another disappointing year after a number of them with Andy Dalton in QB. What do we look at in the future? There's no real promise for this team over the coming years. Yes, they've got some young players, but we're not looking at this team going, right, they're a couple of players away from a Super Bowl or even a playoff spot. At this point in time, they're down there with the Dolphins at this point in time. So it's the city of Cincinnati really going to push to have a team kept in the city that hasn't even won a playoff game in about 30 years. I'm curious for your thoughts on this.
Yeah, my thoughts are, number one, I'm amazed that a relatively new stadium needs $300 million in upgrades already. I mean, really?
Yes.
That's one of my thoughts. Number two, I'm going to ask you this, okay? Where do you think the Cincinnati Bengals would go?
Well, that's an interesting one. I've been giving it some thought. You look at the likes of St. Louis as someone they may look at. Of course, they had an AFL team before. I'm positive, and this isn't just me saying this as a pro, I'm positive that the second that these rumors start to spread.
Okay. You say St. Louis, Anthony?
It will come up as a potential destination. Personally, I maintain I would be surprised if they left the city. There's good history there. Yes, perhaps not a great deal of silverware, but there is some good history there, and there is a lot of love for that team despite their lack of success. So I'd be surprised if they did leave. But yes, if we're looking at potential cities, St. Louis, Salt Lake perhaps is another one you could look at. San Antonio is another one. They did very well when the AAF were playing there.
Yeah.
They were constantly heavily supported. The stadium was constantly sold out. So that would be a city I would definitely look at. But yeah, those two are the ones that jump straight to mind.
Yeah, Salt Lake I think is too small of a market. I can't see that. St. Louis, they need another stadium. They're not going to play at that place, the Edward Jones Dome or whatever they've named it after all this time. And San Antonio, good luck if you think you're going to get that one through. Jerry Jones and the Texans organization will have no part of that. Hey, listen, that's your part of the country. So let me throw a couple out there that I would think. I mean, believe me, and this is such a stretch. It's really a stretch. Okay, I mean, Oakland, could they be enticed if they could get another stadium, even though they failed miserably with the Raiders? Maybe. Or the one I think would be interesting would be San Diego.
Actually, yes, that's a good point. Literally, as you mentioned, the Raiders there, San Diego pops to mind as well. I mean, they've got, again, the stadium would need renovations, but there's certainly a market there for it, and the city's certainly big enough. I'm
actually wondering with Oakland, though, whether they'd ever, the reason they didn't build a stadium because of the Davis family. I mean, this is all speculation, Andy. It really is. We're just talking about.
But it's an interesting point.
Right. Yeah, that's what I would think. San Diego, I hated to see the Chargers go, but can Southern California go ahead and support yet another team down in San Diego? And then
that's the tricky thing about it as well, is if you look at most of these markets, the prominent ones at least, you look at the LA area, obviously you've got San Fran as well, not too far away, and you look at New York and the Boston area. The big markets are widely saturated at this point in time, so it would be difficult for Cincinnati to find a viable area, I think.
Yeah, I think so. And if they didn't have teams, the only other teams you would talk about would be Nashville has their team. Charlotte has their team. So, I think that we're looking at maybe just a handful of places. And I don't think the NFL wants any smaller markets, albeit Cincinnati is one. But what's unique about Cincinnati is you have Southern Ohio and you have all of the entire Kentucky market. And believe me, Anthony, being a guy that's taken I-75 south many a times and driving across the border, that's a team that's more like a regional team anyways. So,
well, I've got a quick question for you then,
sure.
If I may. How do you feel about the prospect of the London Bengals, just throwing it out there?
Well, I mean, what I think about them is, I think that, it's an interesting thought, but again, you're talking about one interesting scheduling dynamic.
That's one way of putting it.
Let me tell you what, if there was no scheduling dynamic, then I think that it's doable, but then, they'd have to spend a certain period of time here in the States, and then they'd have to spend time at home, and then you have to factor the extra bye week. Now, if you rephrase that question and ask me what I think of Mexico City, well, Mr. Wood, we got a different conversation altogether.
Absolutely.
They're in North America, okay? So
yeah, what about, I mean, again, this may be a long shot, but What if we were to throw out the say Vancouver or Montreal?
Well, those are interesting. I don't think it would work in Toronto because of the